World's deadliest drug. Who is the king of the drug world? Who claims 50 times more lives than all the illegal drugs combined? Who costs the American people $130 billion each year to mop up its bloodbath of human slaughter? Who destroys every four families in America? Who kills over 200,000 Americans each year? Is it crack? Is it cocaine? Could it be heroin? No, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the drug world and number one killer of Americans is King Alcohol, and nobody dares utter a peep. During the Vietnam War, 57,000 Americans gave their lives fighting for this country. A wailing wall was built in Washington with each soldier's name engraved. But in that same 9-year period, when 57,000 died in Vietnam, over 2 million Americans were killed by killer alcohol. During the Vietnam War, thousands of protesters were all over this country. What I want to know is, where are the protesters against killer alcohol? Where is Jane Fonda when we really need her? Nobody opens their mouth against killer alcohol. Nobody makes a sound. Who speaks out for over 7 million young children that live a life of child abuse, incest, and torture? Their little life is a hell on earth because of killer alcohol. The killer is glamorized and glorified. The alcohol industry spends over $400 million a year advertising and glorifying the killer. By age 18, American children on an average have seen an estimated of 100,000 beer commercials. They innocently watch as their favorite heroes glamorize and glorify killer alcohol. You only go around once in life, so grab for all the gusto you can, they proclaim. But what they don't tell you is every single day at least 10 young people die because of drinking alcohol. God have mercy on these athletes who prostitute their God-given athletic abilities, sacrificing our young people on the altar of alcohol. One of the beer commercial's favorite celebrities was Billy Martin, former manager of the New York Yankees. I bet you never saw a picture of the end of the drinking scene. Here's the real picture. After spending Christmas Day at a local bar, Billy and William Reedy, a Detroit bar owner, headed home. As they were driving home, their pickup truck skidded over 200 feet off a winding country road and traveled another 100 feet down a 4-foot-deep gully before striking a concrete culvert. Billy Martin smashed through the windshield, fractured his neck, and was pronounced dead 23 minutes later. I bet you never saw that picture. Wouldn't that make a good light beer commercial? Wouldn't that really show you Miller Time? No, they don't show you the end of happy hour. Killer alcohol is turning our highways into rivers of blood and our interstates into a slaughterhouse. On the average, every 50th car you see is powered by a drunk driver on their way to murder an innocent victim. Nearly 700 a week will be killed, 100 a day, nearly 5 an hour. Every 12 minutes, someone is killed by a drunk driver. Over 25 million Americans have died in traffic accidents because of alcohol. People ask, what are we going to do about AIDS? What I want to know is, what are we going to do about the 1,000 innocent people who are lambs led to the slaughter on the highways across America by a drunk driver? In just 1 year, alcohol will slaughter more Americans on our highways than all the American soldiers killed in World War II. Some gullible parents will actually relieved that their children are drinking alcohol instead of using other drugs. But what many parents don't know, the number one killer of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 is alcohol-related automobile accidents. Next time you buy that drink, next time you buy that six-pack, you are footing the bill for the murder of someone's loved one, someone's little child, maybe your own. Next time your wife and children go to the grocery store, next time your husband goes to work, beware, it may be just the last. There's a vicious killer stalking the highways of America. The President of Congress the president and Congress have spared no expense, no effort to get guns off the street. From 2020 to 48 hours to the local news, you can't turn on television without hearing the horror of guns and youth. Where are the TV specials on killer alcohol? And what's more, in nearly all youth-related shootings, killer alcohol helps pull the trigger. As one youth convicted of attempted murder said, most of the crimes we think of, we didn't think about planning drive-by shootings because we had all been drunk. In April 29, 1992, the world was in shock when the LA riots left more than 50 people dead, 2,300 injured, and over $1 billion in damage. And I guess who was and guess who was there? Killer alcohol. U.S. News and World Report, May 31st, 1993, stated, liquor plainly inflamed violence. You could smell the liquor on people's breath from several feet away. Not surprisingly, U.S. News and Report also said, yet official investigations of the 1992 riot have virtually ignored liquor's role. There are over 18 million alcoholics in America thanks to killer alcohol. Cirrhosis of the liver kills over 30,000 each year and rising. Over 50% of the people on welfare are due to killer alcohol. Over 80% of all fire deaths are due to killer alcohol. 65% of the drownings, 22% of home accidents, 77% of falls, 36% of pedestrian accidents, and over 80% of all arrests are linked to killer alcohol. Violent behavior attributed to killer alcohol amounts for approximately 65% of all murders, 40% of all assaults, 30% of all rapes, 30% of all other sex crimes, 30% of all suicides, and one of the most disturbing statistics of all, 60% of all child abuse is due to killer alcohol. Let's wage a war on crack, on cocaine, on heroin, and marijuana, but don't dare even mention killer alcohol.